Hello, my name is Denise Branch. I am the head of the Electronic and Continuing Resources Department at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. The presentation today is called Stewarding Electronic Resources During Challenging Times, the People, the Plan, and the Collaboration. This presentation will highlight the Electronic and Continuing Resources Department's stewardship of its electronic resources. And I'd like to highlight a few facts. We have 61,000 serial subscriptions, 642 electronic databases. We average approximately 5 problem reports per day. 89% of last year's collection expenditures were on e-resources, including e-journals, e-books, and databases. Stewardship is a core value for the VCU libraries that includes responsibility, integrity, trust, accountability, and service when it comes to taking care of vast library resources. VCU is all about access. Our investments, which includes our collections, subscriptions, databases, are valuable. We seek to continuously manage access and eliminate barriers to access. Support discovery is essential. Our number one priority is to serve and satisfy our users. Users rely heavily on e-resources. Why is this? E-resources support learning, education, and research. Today, there is less attraction to physical resources. They provide real-time information and enhance searchability. E-resources save search time. They contain vast and diverse content. Anytime, anywhere access is a great benefit to users on the go. The people, the plan, the collaboration. People, getting to know our staff and ensuring that they are well-trained and knowledgeable of the e-resource lifecycle and possess skills to manage these resources is very important. Staffing levels in our department have not increased in the last few years, even though the number of e-resources and content have continued to increase dramatically. The levels have fluctuated over the past few years due to retirements and those vacancies not being filled. However, the department was able to recruit for 2 new positions this year, an electronic resources librarian and an electronic resources and serial specialist, which helped to make up for the vacancies that were not filled. Unfortunately, more retirements are expected at the beginning of 2024. Staff responsibilities for print resources have declined and moved to a mostly online environment where approximately 98% of our work involves e-resources. Staff goals are being redefined to boost employee performance in this relatively new environment. Staff are being provided with training. They are encouraged to collaborate, are given opportunities to develop new ideas, and are involved in decision-making. It's all about empowering staff to be more creative and innovative and rewarding them. The plan, incorporating methods that use information wisely to enhance efficiencies and promote access is a key to success and promotes access to our valuable collections. We realize that the availability of information has snowballed recently. Technology is evolving every day, and users are expecting comprehensive, seamless, and immediate access. Technological innovations can help us improve the management of information that is coming to us from multiple sources. Now there's the availability for systems, software, and applications to interact with each other to share data and create efficiencies using such things as APIs in which we can get information from a publisher or vendor to update holdings, activate titles, and modify renewal information in our library systems. Today's knowledge bases, ERMs, discovery systems, library service platforms, and APIs have become essential tools and services that we rely heavily on for our daily lives. With information more readily available, we can leverage the incoming data to better prepare ourselves for change. Collaboration, engaging with publishers, vendors, and content providers to create meaningful and mutually beneficial relationships in which these relationships can lead to the development of technological innovations that create more efficient workflows, create standards that enable the library to maintain organized information within our different systems, and manage content more efficiently. Challenges in stewarding e-resources. You can see from this list that there are many challenges involved in the stewardship of our e-resources. For this presentation, I will focus on one specific challenge that has a dramatic effect on stewardship, and that is information overload. Even as a challenge itself, information overload impacts many of the other challenges, such as user expectations, metadata creation and management, URL changes, various knowledge bases, and complicated mix of systems, standards, and platforms. If the information received by the staff that is used in library records and systems is incorrect or untimely, then our propensity for being good stewards of our valuable collections is negatively impacted. Therefore, it is important that we are skilled in absorbing, processing, and making sense of lots of information. It's all about information management. According to Wikipedia, information management is the collection and management of information from one or more sources and the distribution of that information to one or more audiences. This can involve those who have a stake in or a right to that information. Management means the organization of and control over the structure, processing, and delivery of information. The information that the ECR department receives on e-resources originates from publishers, vendors, and content providers. It arrives in numerous formats, such as knowledge bases, emails, listservs, vendor and publisher websites. It can involve title changes, URL updates, metadata changes, journal content modifications, entitlements, transfer data, authentication, and platform changes. Staff must be capable of managing this information throughout the life cycle for delivery to stakeholders. Staff engage with e-resources information in various ways and must make sense of the vast quantities of information. There's a pattern of activities that are involved in the management. Information is collected from multiple places. It is carefully and expertly reviewed. Synthesizing of the various information elements takes place in which the quality of the information is determined. For example, is the metadata correct? Once staff ensure that the information received is reliable and up to date, they will determine where that information needs to go next. A question arises. Should they initiate steps to process the information and/or should the information be presented to other stakeholders to use for informed decision-making? For example, we receive notification that a database is being absorbed into another database. We need to update our records accordingly, but we also need to inform other stakeholders such as frontline staff and liaison librarians who use that database for helping and teaching users that the database is no longer a separate database and its content has moved into another database. Whatever steps are taken, the end goal is to effectively organize the information and minimize the potential for incorrect and outdated information, getting the information to the right people at the right time. Actions speak. The Electronic and Continuing Resources Department fully believes in being proactive. Staff are learning to actively manage information that is received, anticipating any e-resource problems that may arise, and taking steps to determine effective ways to organize and optimize the information to prevent problems from happening in the first place. Information is coming at such a fast pace, and we have no time to waste if we want to maintain reliable, up-to-date information so we can respond more efficiently to user needs. We are learning to quickly assess how the new information can impact our records, databases, applications, users, and stakeholders, and take appropriate actions in response to what we have learned. So what are we doing? Our division was redesigned, and in this redesign, a new department was created in November 2021 called Electronic and Continuing Resources that included existing staff that were solely dedicated to managing e-resources, especially e-journals and databases. The department was able to hire 2 new positions to address the growth in e-resources. Just a few years ago, staff were managing hundreds and hundreds of print journals where they were checking in, binding, and claiming. Not so much now. Currently, we have only 400 print journals, and we are managing 61,000 serial subscriptions and 642 databases in our database A to Z list. Staff roles have been redefined to address a mostly electronic environment in which they are involved with learning new responsibilities and workflows associated with the intricacies of e-resource management. They are now resolving e-resource problem reports that come from users, activating and deactivating titles in our library services platform, updating URLs, maintaining online records for electronic packages, and managing the content within our database's A to Z list. Staff are enhancing their skills when working with e-resources by attending training sessions, webinars, and online conferences. They are learning to quickly and accurately access and synthesize vast quantities of information and thereby effectively managing e-resources. New technologies are being implemented to tame the information flow, such as APIs, so that disparate systems can share data. For example, we implemented the upload of electronic holdings through an integration profile between Ex Libris Alma and numerous publishers where the holdings are automatically retrieved from the publisher and activated in our library zone. An Electronic Resources Advisory Committee was created to review and recommend policies and practices to support the successful management of library e-resources, where it provides ongoing examination of needs and practices and provides collaboration and sharing of issues, processes, current developments, and trends to improve internal workflows and optimize user access. We recently performed a SWOT analysis, and SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We are using this as a planning process to help us overcome challenges and determine which advantages to pursue. We are exploring new initiatives, revamping policies, and considering opportunities to create efficiencies, such as collaborating with vendors and publishers to ensure that information is accessible to all employees and other stakeholders. Here are some things to ponder when engaging with information. Who is responsible for reviewing information and managing content in our library? What systems and services are being used to track information and content? How can libraries help publishers, vendors, and content providers to help us obtain accurate and up-to-date information? How do publishers, vendors, content providers stay current of trends? Are libraries investigating ways that publishers, vendors, content providers judge accuracy of information, such as metadata? Are publishers, vendors, content providers dedicated to understanding the challenges libraries face and offering solutions? If so, how? We are focusing on stewardship for a sustainable future. Here are some actions we can take to support this. Create an environment that is innovative. Libraries can make innovation a core value. They can engage their staff, stakeholders, and strategic partners in activities to experiment with techniques available to stimulate creativity and discover those that best meet your needs. Build new relationships and strengthen the old ones. Relationships are the building blocks for success. Partnering with stakeholders to communicate openly builds trust and respect. Upskill your staff. Promote continuous learning by offering training and development opportunities to expand the skills, knowledge, and competencies of staff. And last but not least, embrace change. Change can make us nervous and uncertain. We get comfortable with our routines and habits, but sometimes we need to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. Our experiences teach us this. We should see change as an opportunity and display open-mindedness for doing things differently. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. My name is Tamar Ganol, and I am the Content Product Manager at Exlibris, part of Clarivate. In my slides, I will present how Exlibris, which sells software solutions for libraries to manage metadata and library needs, takes part in the academic publishing ecosystem, and how as a software company, we find opportunities in the challenges to innovate and evolve. Exlibris is an international leader of providing software solutions for libraries around the world. We have 6,000 institutions subscribing to our software in 94 countries around the world, 80 of which are national libraries and 127 ARL institutions. We have 1,800 institutions using our resource sharing software, 2,500 ALMA institutions, and our central discovery index serves 3,700 institutions. And our user community spans over 4,000 members in the North American User Group, International User Group, and Innovative User Group. Let me introduce you to Content Operations. It is a unit within Exlibris, which handles metadata and the Exlibris knowledge bases and discovery index. Content Operations team is working with over 7,000 providers worldwide in 150 languages. Exlibris does not create metadata, so working with providers from all over the world is a prerequisite for maintaining the library solution software Exlibris sells. There are standard metadata guidelines for different needs and purposes, but the world of academic publishing is ever evolving and changing, and standards sometimes do not address all scenarios and aspects of managing the metadata. So Ex Libris products strive to create an environment that would accommodate a variety of languages and metadata formats, some not always standardized. The metadata that is sent to content operations is managed either in the discovery system with 5.3 billion records that allow granular metadata such as article level or book chapter level, and in the 3 knowledge bases with over 37,000 collections that serve as bibliographic records repositories. In the knowledge bases, content operation manages over 12 million bibliographic records for ebooks, whereas the Discovery Index manages 948 million journal articles. The massive volume of the metadata is a challenge for libraries when managing information such as acquisition, access rights, course reserves, and more, and for publishers for creating the metadata, associating it with collections offered for libraries, and tracking access rights. In Ex Libris, we offer a suite of products to manage the different aspects of the metadata, such as resource sharing, research output, and workflows, and linking in solutions on top of the knowledge bases and discovery. Stewarding electronic resources looks at the end user's perspective, the patrons, so that managing content is for the purposes of accurately retrieving the right documents and making the discovery process as easy as possible. These two goals are shared by all stakeholders involved in this process: the libraries, content providers, and Ex Libris. Reaching these goals is done by taking actions on each vertex of this triangle. The content providers are overseeing the production of metadata according to standards. Librarians train and get training on using the resources, promote resources, invest cataloging efforts and knowledge to standardize the metadata for it to be found easily. And on Ex Libris side, our way to reach these goals is by developing the software so it can better manage and represent the metadata, which constantly cooperating with the community and the industry. Taking a step back from the perspective of the end user, we also have a goal of increasing usage, which is shared across this triangle, making better use of acquired resources, increasing traffic to providers' platform, and mainly boosting research and learning is the overall agenda that leads us in our plans and actions. Facing these joint goals, we are also facing joint challenges that are spanning across higher education, academic publishing, and providing library solutions. The first, of staying current and up to date, is extremely challenging as there is an exponential increase in content all around the world. Knowing what is new out there and getting the metadata so it will be accurately retrieved is a great challenge. The second is the growth in open access content, curating it, managing the information about it, verifying its quality presents the subsequent challenge in managing the metadata for open access content. Third, we are all experiencing a decline in resources allocated in institutions to purchase and sustain collections and databases, and that affects the entire ecosystem. High mobility is also a great challenge. If it's journals being acquired and sold and changing publishers and platforms, or professional employees that are interested in changing workplaces, which impacts organizational knowledge. This is a world of constant change. The technology made these changes much more feasible. And last, how do we stay innovative in a world that seems to have seen everything, where the creativity has been outsourced to artificial intelligence, and yet tasks are becoming more and more complex and require expertise alongside breadth of knowledge? These challenges are faced together as we all are stakeholders in stewarding electronic resources, and we face these challenges with transparently thinking outside the box. Some examples of managing the challenges. Well, first, prioritizing the metadata gaps in Ex Libris products. We do that by using Idea Exchange platform. Users post messages notifying Ex Libris about missing collections, and this platform is transparent and available for both librarians and content providers. They can vote to express a priority of the ideas and discuss the ideas in comments. This helps Ex Libris manage and prioritize the content gaps. Another example is managing hybrid open access journals that are presented in title lists with multiple rows for the volumes that are available only for subscribers, and when these volumes are available freely as open access. This is the standard as set by NISO, but the way it is displayed for end users is very confusing. As a result, the content operations team discussed with the community how they would like to see these statements for paying and non-paying subscribers, and developing a solution in our products so the way we process and display these coverage statements will be more understandable. And last, an example to proactively identifying opportunities is for platform changes or migrations that allows us to discuss with the content providers and update workflows and changes in metadata delivery methods and more. So to summarize, at Ex Libris, we strive for data excellence. We do that by increasing our outreach to content providers, receiving feedback from our user community to expand the metadata feeds we receive in order to reach completeness of the metadata, making sure all the feeds are up to date and current, monitoring record quality and supporting methods for enrichment of records, making sure we comply with the industry standards, making access to full text easier, and making sure access rights are updated frequently so that available materials are presented quickly.
Hello, everybody. My name is Beth Bernhardt, and I am the Consortia Account Manager, one of them, at Oxford University Press. Before coming to OUP, I was previously an assistant dean for the collections at the University of North Carolina in Greensboro. So for years, I was a librarian, so I understand the needs that Denise has been talking about. To start, I just want to give you a little bit of information about Oxford. The University Press is a department of the University of Oxford, and it furthers the university's objective of excellence in research. And just a little bit of background. Of course, we were founded in 1478. We publish a lot. We have a lot of content of academic titles that we publish. We also have databases. And we are the largest university press in the English-speaking world. I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges that both my presenters have talked about a little bit. We want to talk about the address of how at Oxford we have addressed some of these issues that Denise and Tamar have talked about. They to work more carefully with Ex Libris or other content vendors, we have created a database, discovery managing position. And this person is a librarian, and she knows all about libraries and working with them and understands their needs. Her job is to help facilitate getting the KBART files and other information to our content providers quickly and in a timely manner. We also at OUP started a discovery working group. And this group, they continue to look at areas in the press and do triage of ideas, prioritize those to improve discoverability of the OUP content and improve and maintain a third-party vendor relationships. This example of this is what they're working on and moving forward on is hopefully a customized delivery holdings list for our customers. And that's hopefully coming in the next year or so. So they also, we have worked with a company called Bibliographic Data Services to work with OCLC to have better MARC records for our libraries that need it. And then we've also really worked on providing better services for our libraries, our support services. One of those is our Library Resource Center, which has lots of information, including promotional materials, information on managing your resources, customer training. A group has worked very hard to provide library materials for the librarians to understand how to manage their resources. And a couple of examples of that is the Oxford Academic Library Handbook. Shows a librarian how to set up links, talks to them about how to get to their usage, set up an account, all kinds of information in that handbook. And that is available on our information site. The other things we've done is some starter guides for librarians that are just starting out and haven't had a product from Oxford in their system before, and also just user guides. So all these things we have been working on to try to help make sure that our librarians are up to date on what we have. They have the right information that they can feed into their knowledge bases, and we work with our knowledge bases to make sure we have what they have, our content in the right format for the user to see when they are looking at and discovering our information. So at this time, here's our contact information, and I would like to open it up for questions and answers from our group and the audience. Thank you very much.